A year after Ben's passing, I always had this thing in the back of my mind, like I want to do something to commemorate Ben's life and raise funds for the Ben Carlson Foundation. So I started this thing, an event called the Ben to Go.
First year Purdy did this, he took it upon himself to create a 3-day challenge where he paddled 28 miles from Newport to Catalina. Day 2, guy ran a marathon, and day 3 paddled all the way back from Catalina to Newport. And I think that was so inspiring. And he raised a huge amount of money for the foundation, provided a scholarship, and after that, it just became an annual.
First year was kind of like me doing it on my own, figuring it out. The second year I had probably 15 people. We actually went from Newport Harbor out to Catalina.
The following year, I was fortunate enough to be on an escort boat that watched the entire paddle go down, and I've got 2 boys, and I saw how cool it was for them to see these guys take on a challenge. At that point, I just decided, hey, they're giving back to our foundation. It's an honor of, my wife's brother, my brother-in-law, and also to, for my kids to see. It was so inspiring, so I decided to do it year 3.
When I heard he was doing it, I was stoked. I knew he was an athlete, but I didn't realize that he was just a baseball player. Like, the guy's never surfed, like barely paddled in his whole life.
I'm not a waterman myself. I'm not from Newport, but we've been thrown into this community, and to see the way that people have reacted to who Ben was and what he did has been inspiring to so many, and inspired people like myself to go, okay, hey man, we can do this. So I decided to do it, and I got aboard and started training about 4 months out. And I'd get out in the water and I'd see these guys who were doing it and how they were training, and I'd come alongside of them. Man, I was amazed at how much faster they were moving than I was. But I just knew in my mind anything can be done, and I was just inspired to do it. Going into it, I'd never experienced the open ocean. Your nerves are pumping, there's so much going through your head.
It was a really good start, but you could see south wind kind of trickling in, and it's 9 hours, it's a long day.
I think we were like 2 or 3 miles in, and I saw the crowd just fleeting and just going. And I was like, I'm going at the pace that I knew I was gonna go at. And at some point, it's so physical, and then something happens where, for me, it was just a mental game. You begin to feel defeated, and you can't see land, and you don't know at what mile you're in. I just remember thinking, like, this is never gonna end. And then something kicked in, and I caught a second wind at like mile 21, and I knew that I had 8 miles, 10 miles still to go. And I don't even know what it was, but I felt brand new, and we're swimming towards the statue, that was really all I needed, was that thought of Ben in my mind, and then also having family where I'm seeing my kids, I'm seeing my wife, and from there I had all the energy I needed. When we finally got inside of Newport, there was no feeling like it. I was worked, I was tired, I was hungry, but I knew that we're almost done, and I knew that I had almost accomplished what, I had set out to do.
We saw him, and he made the turn around the Newport Pier, and I was like on the verge of tears when he hit the beach.
To see them there and to know that they had waited to celebrate with me was another moment that I'll never forget. I know that there's no greater way that Ben would want to go out than to have inspired, an entire community, and what we did that day was just a small illustration of that.